Alright y'all, here we are picking up on this section of the video. Still talking about 4.5 or 4 and 5. But right here what I have in front of you actually is an older depiction slash drawing, a construct of what I've already been showing y'all. As you can see, you have the Ouroboros right around here. I drew this months ago, y'all, so I need y'all to take that into mind. This has almost been 7 or 8 months ago since I first, drew this one. This is the second one. The very first one was a couple of months before that. But here, what we have basically is the same exact thing, but you see one snake. So you can see the proof of the growth of my knowledge and how, just how I'm tying everything together. You see the snake down here at the bottom in the incorrect position. But when I showed y'all the Ouroboros, I said that the 0 would be the beginning and the 9 would be the end. And you'll start over with another snake, with 2 snakes. I was thinking the correct thing all along, but I just had the wrong concept that I was going by. That's why you see this dark half of the snake up here and you see a light snake down here at the bottom, because I was thinking this is underground, so I was going to invert it and put white under the bottom and put dark ground under here just to invert, and then this was representing the night sky. I remember thinking I was going to put stars on the actual skin of that so-called snake, and I chose not to, but that right there is symbolizing the power symbol slash Polaris. What you see over here is the Wi-Fi symbol, and what this has to do with, you probably looked at that and wondered what it was, but I said this months ago as well.
And the way it add out to 9 when you coordinate them each side like that, it just show you how the math coordinates the sacred geometry, and that's something I haven't even done, brother. You're a damn genius.
This Wi-Fi on the bottom is symbolizing the point of singularity in which the rows emit from the top stone, or the bottom stone in this case, so that would be down here. And the same thing would be going on as above, or as above, so so below. So as above, so below. And I just took basically the Wi-Fi, and inverted it upside down, or right side up and upside down, based on perception. And they're mirroring each other, and I chose to put, it was symbolizing this whole thing that we have right here, because the Wi-Fi symbol deals with free energy, and these pyramids dealt with free energy. I'm going to talk to y'all more about that, but this right now is about the 4 and the 5. So that's what you see right here, as well as the Wi-Fi symbol, not only as itself, but I was just thinking and playing around. I was thinking, okay, we have, you usually have 4 rows on the Wi-Fi symbol coming to 1/5 point. Usually when you see the Wi-Fi symbol, that's exactly how it is. 4 rows and a 5th point. Just like when you see, pyramids, you have four sides and then a 5th point, the pinnacle point. Or, because this could be seen as, just like you see that this is multi-dimensional right here. Anyway, I'm trying to get to that 4 and 5 for y'all, but I just wanted to explain this as you see it, because I know that some people may question. But I took these 4 Wi-Fi symbols, as all this really is, and cut each Wi-Fi symbol individually into half to create not only 4 sections, but then 8 sections. So you end up with every single Wi-Fi symbol, once you cut it in half, creates 8 sections. If you have 8 sections for every single individual Wi-Fi symbol at that point, from that point on, if you have 4 Wi-Fi symbols, that means you do 8 times 4, which equals 32. So you end up with 4 Wi-Fi symbols and 32 sections. That's 432, and then you got that 1 point of singularity, which equals a 33rd point. Now, just for this, this right here, you see a face within here. That's because when I drew this out and I was thinking about these numbers and the formation that they're making, my third eye as an artist, what I saw, the wings and the combination of the 3 and the 6, the whole construct of what the symbol as a whole on the bottom, just the bottom itself, not this whole thing, but just this, bottom sector slash the top sector, because they're the same thing flipped. It creates the pharaoh head, or the sphinx head, the headgear that's, seen on the sphinx. That's exactly what I see as far as the face right here in the center, and it all makes 100% sense as far as the geometry. And this right here, this line in between where the 4 and 5 is at, is actually where the beard would be, the goatee. Because I've also, with this, a lot of symbols can be found within what I've created on the final draft, that I've been showing y'all, you can see I hate to bring up the name, but you can see the goat head / Baphomet head up here at the top. You know, if I showed y'all that, a lot of people, you know, can show that by flipping the Freemason square and compasses upside down, which is basically what that would be, because this is the right side up. If you flip it upside down, you do get the goat head, and it looks exactly like it. And I say that because, like I said, goatee, and that's where the pharaoh the headgear that they wore, the pharaohs, the Sphinx, and everything had to do with, you know, the goats, the goatee, you know, that stuff, all Pan-Africanism, all that. I'm not getting into that, man. I've been trying not to get into that type of stuff. But here we are, man, with the 4 and 5. Now, with the 4 and the 5, what I was thinking about as far as the 4 and the 5, like I told y'all, you know, Nikola Tesla's famous quote with the, you know, the magnificence of the 3, 6, and the 9. Y'all are going to hear, or have heard me say that a lot, actually, here within these videos. 3, 6, and 9 is the key to the universe, as he said. Well, I was looking at the symbol, and honestly, you're not supposed to draw a line in between the 6 and the 3. But I was just playing around with it, and I drew a line anyway, and I just wanted to see what I would see. And what I ended up seeing was that 4 and 5 create these, you know, not to be vulgar, but titty type of structures. And I just looked at the points that they were making compared to everything else. They were making 2 points that were down by each other. And I was just looking at the geometry of it. And I said, man, okay, I got the Wi-Fi symbol up here. What other forms of wireless communications are there that I was thinking about as far as Nikola Tesla? So you got Wi-Fi. And then I was looking at the symbol, and it was ringing a bell. I was like, wow, that looks like the Bluetooth symbol. And you may not see what I'm seeing, but when you create that line right there, and you have those two points like I was showing you, and if you cut it off at this 7-2 point, at the middle point, you will end up with the Bluetooth symbol. Do I have evidence to show what I'm saying? Yes, I do, and I'm about to show you right now. But let me break down the Bluetooth symbol just a little bit as far as the history. If you Google it, they will tell you that the Bluetooth symbol came from the Norse B and Norse H of language. And if you take that Norse B and Norse H and combine it, which is what they're saying, you end up with the Bluetooth symbol. So y'all can choose as far as which one y'all think may be the truth, but I really feel like I'm onto something even more as far as the 4 and 5, what I discovered, because the Bluetooth symbol, if you look at it, it's not just that. Like I say, it's not Norse B and Norse H necessarily. What I see, this ties into who, you know, Nikola Tesla, who is responsible for 80% of all of the electrical devices that we use today. So when you draw this line between the 3 and the 6, they say that the 0 point starts right there usually. It might be raised up usually on some models, but the 0 point is supposed to be right here is what they say. That's not just the 0 point, but it's the 4.5 point. It's not just 0. You end up with 4 and 5. This is just written in the actual order that you see up here. That's why you see 4 and 5 like that. If you cut right here at the 7 and 2, you're going to end up with this. And when you get that, you got that basically. Now that's the Bluetooth symbol all day. I'm not gonna say I don't care what anybody says, because I'm just saying, man, that's the Bluetooth symbol all day. So I mean, just think, you know, Nikola Tesla, wireless energy, which was the last thing that he was working on before he passed away. He is responsible for 80 or more percent of all of the electronics that we use today. So I mean, with that, you know, thought about, you know, y'all can think about that, but that's just something cool that I was going to show y'all as far as the 4 and the 5, because that was one of the key discoveries that, you know, really kept me on going. I was like, I know I'm onto something here, because they'll tell us that Norse B and Norse H is the combination of what you use to get the Bluetooth wireless symbol, but all the while 4 and 5 equals 9. Nikola Tesla's quote, you know, is, if only you knew the magnificence of the 3, the 6, and the 9, you would know the key to the universe. Well, I'm telling y'all that 4 and 5, Nikola Tesla discovered 3, 6, and 9 4 and 5 also equals 9, I'm showing y'all myself the significance of the 4 and the 5, not just the 3, 6, and the 9. This is just my own mind working, and if y'all concur with it, that's great, man. But that's what we have for that point, and back to the regular presentation. All right, y'all, we are back for part number 3 of the presentation. I'm always excited to be back, man, teaching what I've created here. As I say, I hope y'all, learn something from the video. What we're going to be talking about today is the 4 and the 5, the pairing of the 4 and the 5, 4 and 1 equaling 5, and yeah, so I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm going to start off by saying, when you look at us as humans in our reality, because I want y'all to look at us just like, we're looking at the numbers here. We usually see numbers as a marking of individuality. Each number has its own function / power and what it can do and everything. Every single number basically equals a number of completion. Number 7 and number 9, if y'all want me to elaborate even more on every number being completion, I can do that, and y'all just let me know, in the comments or something, because this is going to help me cut time down on the video. But every single number equals a number of completion. You'll usually hear that number 7 and number 9 are the numbers of completion, but that's not 100% the case. It doesn't just stop there. Every single number is a number of completion. And I'll just leave it at that for right now so that I can jump right into what I'm supposed to be teaching y'all. I say that because we look at these numbers as individuals, just like we look at ourselves, separate from each other. But as we're living in this new age and everything, of knowledge and everything coming out, spirituality being heavy and prevalent, we're realizing that a lot of people are starting to see that we're all connected, that everything is connected as one. So when you look at this, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, they're all individual numbers, but they're connected. Every last one of them, besides this 4.5, which is connected really about the point. Now, the reason why that is important is because as we realize that we are all connected, the same rules apply to the numbers that apply to us, because the numbers is what builds up everything in reality. So really the rules that apply to the numbers is what applies to reality. When we look at us as a whole, instead of looking at us as separate, the whole picture starts to come together. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. In this case, all should be looked at together in order to see the full picture. Why am I saying that? Because if you add 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 together, the sum of all of those numbers equals 45. Now, that's very important. 45 is all of the numbers added together. Now, if you take off 9 from 45, what do you get? You end up with 36. So you could stop at 8 and still get 36. And what was Nikola Tesla's famous quote that I told y'all? If only you knew the magnificence of the 3, the 6, and the 9, you would have the key to the universe. If you stop counting at 8, you end up with 36. 3 plus 6 equals 9. So that's important to note too, that if you stop counting at 8 and omit the 9, you end up with 36, and 3 plus 6 equals 9. But the 9 is the key. Without the 9, you wouldn't be able to do any of this right here. You can't, stop at 8 necessarily and create exactly what I've created and have the 3 and the 6 all and the 9 and the 0 all, because it's not just 3, 6, and 9. The invisible counterpart is the 0 itself, and it should not be left out. And that's just me and what I've discovered. I'm open to any type of other speculations on that. Now with the 45 itself, again, we know that the halfway point between 0 and 9 is 4.5. We discussed that in other videos. So 4 and 5 equals 9. If you add all of the numbers together, you get 45, and that 4 plus 5 equals 9. So you got 4.5 right there. The only way that you can have this is by setting it up like this. You got 45, it's all of the numbers added together. That's always going to be like that. That is inescapable. But when you set this up like this with the squares, you end up with 45-degree angles. 45-degree angles. This itself, is a Masonic square. This is basically an upside down Masonic square up here at the top, and this is the, it pointing upwards like you usually see it. You end up, in that case, you will have a 90 degree and a 90 degree and two 45s. But in this case, you end up with 4 45s. So you have 4 45s, and then you end up with 1 point here in the center. Now when you create this point in the center and bring all of these numbers 2, 1, and 0 in from like that, and bring them in, like I taught y'all, bring these numbers in like that, bend them in, you end up with more 45-degree angles. So, and you have to do that just like that. You have to bring those numbers in order to create what I've created, and comprehend it and see all of this as one, to come together as one picture. So with those lines, you end up with a 45 right here, because that's a line in between this 90 degree. Basically, for some people, because I know everybody is not math, savvy and everything like that, and that's cool. That's okay. It's, everybody has their strength. When you take this line right here at the 4.5, you end up, like I told y'all, with a 90 degree and a 90 degree mirroring on each side. They're adjacent. But if you take half of 90, which is this line right here in the halfway point, because you're drawing the line literally from right here to the halfway point, up here to this 2. The 2 is the halfway point, and if you draw a line from right here, you literally going right to the center. So that's a perfect halfway line, no way around it. And therefore, if you cut 90 in half, you end up with 45 and 45. And if you do that and apply the same rule to the other 3 sections, you end up with not only just 45 and 45 like we got, you end up with 45 and 45, and you end up with another 45 and 45, and another 45 and 45, equaling 8 45-degree angles altogether, interior at least. Exterior, you also have these, which is this one right here, this one right here. So you have 16 really all together as far as 45 degree angles. Interior, you have 8. Exterior, you have 8. So the number 8 is showing itself, because this right here is a figure 8. This is a figure 8, and this is a figure 8. So the number 8, like I showed y'all, if you stop counting at 8, you'll still get 9. You'll still get 36, which and 3 and 6 equals 9. So number 8, that's where I was telling y'all, the number 8, every number symbolizes completion in some form. That's why the number is the number. But the number 8 itself, it can function like 9. You're seeing that right here, where it can function like a 9, and just represent those properties in this, just weird type of way, man. I find myself trying to figure out a lot of the things that I'm opening myself up to. But with those 8 45 degree angles with every line, yeah, if you think about it and use your mind, you basically have a compass here. Basically have a compass here, not directional really, but just basically the setup of it. You end up with one line, another line, and another line, which is basically north, which I told y'all, which this is on point, man. The all-seeing eye is supposed to be up here. What did I tell y'all would be the 0 and the 9? Sun and the moon. So the all-seeing eye / Polaris, the generator of all things, is up here, which would be north, and then you would end up with east over here on this side, south down here, which is clearly south, and then you would end up with west. And when you have that, you can cut that in, apart. So you end up north, northeast, east, southeast, south, southwest, west, and northwest, right here where the 2 is at. So this is what you end up having basically as a compass, which is separated into 8 sections by 45 degrees. If you do not have a compass separated into 8 sections by 45 degrees, then you will not have an accurate compass. It has to be a 360 degree compass, which this is a 360 degree square. I basically, when I showed y'all the Ouroboros, I basically circled the square. That's exactly what I did. I took the square and I literally circled it. When you hear that saying called circle the square, this is what it really is that I'm showing y'all. So you end up basically with, a compass in a square form with no directions, basically. The same type of setup and everything. So that's just that as far as all of the numbers adding up to 45, every 45 degree angle that is prevalent within here. More about the 4 and the 5. When you look at ancient symbols, when you look at the pyramids, matter of fact, as far as the 8 sections that I just brought up, me saying the pyramids, let me talk about that too. Now, when you separate these by lines, what do you see when you look? This is multi-dimensional. Let me say that. This is a multi-dimensional thing going on here. That's why it's so special too. Because it's not just looking at a pyramid from the side view like you have right here. This is not what's going on here. This could be seen as the top view. This could be seen as a side view, front view, however you want to put it really. And the reason why I say that is because you got this point right here. Now when you see the Giza pyramids, look, and not only the Giza, but other ones too, by how they're set up with the stairways and everything. Like this one right here, they have the stairways on each side. But you may have heard that they have 8 sides. It's not really 4 sides, it's 8 sides. Well, I'll say and put it like this. There are 4 sides. No, well, yeah, there are. I will say that there are 8 sides correctly. There are 8 sides, but there are 4 faces. Okay, that's what I'll say. There are 4 faces to the pyramid, but there are 8 sides. And the reason why I say that is because we have a face which is split up into 2 sides. We got one side of the face, which is the left side, and one side, which is the right side. So basically, every single square that you see, or coming to that, every side or every face that you see coming to that middle point right there, the apex, every last side, that's a face at the end of the day. And man, come on now. Every single face has 2 sides when you look at the Giza pyramid. So it has 8, just like you see here. And I'm basically showing y'all, myself, man. This is, when people question why, the ancient Egyptians, they worked with something called cubits and their measurements and everything. They were very big on measurements, in mathematics. But I'm just showing y'all from my own perspective and ideology. When people question why they did the things or built the pyramids like they built them, I feel like I'm really tackling a lot of that right here, right now. Numerically, you hear them say, look at these things that you hear on these documentaries and things about the pyramids. They'll tell you things like, in the future, as far as decrypting the language, and whatever language they speak in the future is going to be one surrounded by mathematics. Well, what do I have right here? Numerology / numbers ties into mathematics. What I'm doing isn't really math like that, because it can be seen as math because it's dealing with numbers at the end of the day, but I'm not dealing with theoretical type of stuff. I'm not doing all of the equations and stuff. I'm showing you from a simplistic view. This is an isosceles triangle with 2 equal angles, 2 equal sides. No, it's a right isosceles triangle. I'm not giving y'all a whole bunch of crazy stuff. But just as far as more on the 4 and the 5, you know, that's just that about the pyramids. As far as the 4 and the 5, you have, just like we added everything up, you know, and it became 9. Like 0 and 9, 1 and 8 is 9, 2 and 7 is 9, 3 and 6 is 9, 4 and 5 is 9, 5 and 4 is 9, 6 and 3 is 9, 7 and 2 is 9, 8 and 1 is 9, 9 and 0 is 9, 4 and 5 is 9, 3 and 6 is 9, 7 and 2 is 9, 1 and 8 is 9, 0 and 9 is 9, 9. Everything equals 9 across. Well, when you do diagonally, you end up having 4 and 5, or 4 and 14. 0 plus 4 equals 4. 1 plus 3 equals 4. 2 plus 2 equals 4. 3 plus 1 equals 4. 4 plus 0 equals 4. 9 plus 5 equals 14. 8 plus 6 equals 14. 7 plus 7 equals 14. 6 plus 8 equals 14. 5 plus 9 equals 14. 1 plus 4 equals 5. So everything coming this way diagonally or leaning to the left diagonally equals 4. Everything leaning to the right diagonally equals 5. So 4 and 5 are right there, but they also continue. If you draw a line from 4 to 0, 3 to 1, 2 to, you know, that's 4. Everything else is 5. So it's creating an X as well as an X this way, and it's creating an X that way. You have never seen this done. And we saw that as kids, all of the multiples of 9, you know, flipping and everything like that, but just broke down geometry. When you can tie angles and geometry into just the numbers, basic numbers themselves, that's something, you know, that's, you know, you can't just make that happen like that. You know, it's only going to happen under certain circumstances, and this is the only circumstance that this can happen under. You cannot do this with any other number. You cannot do this with any other number set up or any other number. 45 is the key, literally. You cannot do this with any other number and get 45-degree angles. You can set up and put other numbers in these squares, start off with the number 1. It'll just throw everything off. You'll never get the only number system that I set up and that you can get anything that's like this. You want to know what it is? It's the clock. The clock is literally a coil that's been sitting in front of our face and we haven't paid it any attention for the longest. 3, 6, and 9 is on the clock. Look at the clock, y'all. Everything on the clock. 12 equals 3, because 1 plus 2 equals 3. Everything else across from each other equals and adds up to 3. When you have 12 up here, let's just act like this is a square clock, because this is basically how it's broke down anyway. A circle, square. A clock is a circle, square, so it's the same thing. Just different properties. 12 o'clock would be up here, y'all. So I'm telling y'all, 0 through 9 you can do this, and 0 through 12 you can do this. Now, 12 o'clock would be up here. 3 o'clock would be right here. 6 o'clock would be right here. And 9 o'clock would be right here. 12, 3, 6, and 9. In between, we know we have 12. We will have about 1, 2, and then 3. Then 4, 5, and then 6. Then 7 and 8, and then 9. And then 10, 11, and then 12. So, if I said 1 and 2, and then I said 10 and 11, 10, 11, 1 and 2. 10, 11, 1 and 2. 12 already equals 3. 1 plus 2 equals 3. 10, 11, 1, and 2. 11 equals 2. 1 plus 1, and 1 equals 1 itself. We just did 12. 1 plus 2 equals 3. If 11 equals 2 and 1 equals 1, that means that equals 3. Because that's 2 plus 1. And if 10 equals 1, 1 plus 0, and then we got 2 o'clock over here, that means we got 3 right there. Because that's another 1 and 2. It just flipped. And like I said, you would have 12, 3, 6, 9. 9 and 3 equals 12. 1 plus 2 equals 3. Now, what did I say? I said you would have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 8 and then 4, which is right after 3. So 8 and then 4 equals what? 12. So then, which is 3. And then you end up with 5 and then 7 right before 8. 5 and then 7 equals 12. And then you end up with the one singular 6 down here by itself that you can honestly just add with itself to get 12 too, which equals 3. So everything across from each other on the clock equals 3. You know, that's another vortex that's been sitting right in front of our faces, and we ain't even really realize it like that. And everything up and down on the clock, you got 9 like 2 times, 6 to 3, I can't remember. But you can do the same thing and get 3, 6, and 9 when you add the numbers vertically on that clock as well. So 3, 6, and 9 is the clock as well. I said all of that because you can only do this function with the numbers 0 through 12 and 0 through 9. Because when you do 0 through 12, the way that I found out that was very important is because when you do 0 through 12, you end up with 3, 6, and 9 still. They end up still congruent. That's the only way. And honestly, yeah, I mean, with the 4 and the 5, I think we pretty much got it figured out and put out. Every religious symbol, for instance, the swastika, even though I don't want to bring it up, I don't have, you know, and that's only, I'm saying I don't want to bring it up because of how most people, you know, perceive stuff regarding that, you know, instead of being more open-minded. But the swastika is right here. This is exactly the motion it's making. Look, y'all, 0 through 1 is bending, just like that. Just like you see the swastika tilted, you know, 0 through 1 bends up here to 4. 5 and 7, it can go down here just like that. And then you end up going back down here with the 0. It's just, you know, and that goes out like that. And then, you know, I mean, hey, bro, it's not only that, you have the Masonic sign I showed y'all. The swastika is basically, if you look at it, it's basically 4 Masonic squares in a perpetual motion. That's where I'm telling y'all the Masonic square is symbolizing free energy in a way. That's what a lot of people haven't even caught on to, because these numbers all tie into free energy. Literally, they tie into the mapping of magnetism. And everything. So this ties into electricity, magnetism, free energy all together. Because that's what these pyramids were. They were free energy sources. You know, so I mean, that's just what I have right now, y'all. I'm going to try to edit this video.